And we go from there.
Purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right, welcome. You guys are tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership podcast. This is the interview series. And then I have my special guest here, Richard Giraldi. We're going to go ahead and introduce him here in a second. Let me go ahead and get my introduction out of the way first so I can turn it over to our guest. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at BNL Loan Officer on all social media. Also, go to the YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you're seeing this video, and please share it with your audience as well. We definitely appreciate it. Go to my website, www.applywithb.com. You can book me for a consultation there, or you could apply for a mortgage. Also, you could call me 832-753-5541. You can call me 24/7 at that number. Also, if you want to catch some of the actual replays of the videos in our podcast, go to www.brandonbdixon.com. Also, you can catch me there for any listings or leases that I have for real estate, or if you want to be a real estate investor, that's the proper channels right there. All right, without further ado, I have my special guest here, Richard Giraldi. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Richard. Tell them who you are. Tell them where they can find you. Give me the whole hit caboodle.
Sure. I am a gentleman. I'm originally from New York, born and raised in Brooklyn. I'm living in Texas for the last 20 years. And my background is 30 plus years in sales management, business management. The last 15 years or so, I've been working independently as a consultant.
Okay. Gotcha. And what do you do now? What's your company now, and how did you start it?
Yeah, I offer a wide variety of services. My focus is on helping businesses to significantly reduce their expenses and to bring in extra revenue. I work in a number of fields where I am a contracted partner of industry leading companies. So I work in medical billing. I work in health benefit expense reduction. I help in business funding, and I work with a brand loyalty customer information program. But recently, I had been fascinated with AI. So as of last year, about 7 months ago, I started a course. I'm working with a company, AI for Business. They have a fabulous set of all the best AI tools, training, and then they provide support directly from the company, and they have about 40,000 members online on their Facebook site. So there's always some good support there. But in the training, one of the lessons was on developing an app. So I decided I was going to develop an app that could help my business. And one thing I had been trying to do for about a year and a half was to get some significant grant funding for my business. I've joined a couple of those do-it-yourself groups where you're paying $20, $30 a month, and they provide a schedule of the grants that are available that provide some training. And those groups are great. But the reality is, if you're going up against significant grant funding, in the range of $10,000 to $250,000 or more, you're competing against professional grant writers. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to beat you on that because they have the experience and know exactly what they're doing. So the further I dove down the rabbit hole on this project, the angrier I was getting, because it turns out that there are, even with the recent federal cuts in federal grants, they cut 30% of grants in this administration. But I only brought federal grants from 700 billion to 500 billion. And then there's another 300 billion in state, foundation, corporate, and private grants. So $800 billion a year in grants. Small businesses have about $1 billion in funding in grants, especially when you include minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, disabled-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. When you group that all together, that's a lot of category of grants that add up to about $1 billion a year or more. And the reality is, I feel that the grant industry has kind of set up for decades, has set up somewhat of a business caste system where small businesses have been purposely kept out of grants. They made it purposely overcomplicated. And then the reality is, professional grant writers are very expensive. They charge anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 or more to write a single application. A lot of applications are very complicated. They do require professional management. If your business is too busy to keep up with that, or you don't have the experience to keep up with that, a grant firm will do it for you. But they'll charge you anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 a month. And grants take anywhere, they could take 3 months all the way up to a year or more. So no small business, no independent professional has those type of funds to go after that. And I just thought it's ridiculous. There are, of that $1 billion a year, 9 out of 10 small business owners have never applied and never gotten a dime of grant funding. And again, they've been discouraged for doing it. You know, most people I talk to think that grants are just for research or just for, medical purposes, or there is a ton of money out there. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to be a bit of a disruptor to the industry. I'm trying to focus on a segment of business that has been neglected by the grant industry, and that's small businesses, independent professionals, and then we're setting up the Grant Stream Foundation, which is information to help out small nonprofits that are local, that are doing great work, but just don't have the budget to have a grant writer on staff or to be able to pay a grant firm to search out that money for them. We're going to provide those services, pro bono services, for those organizations.
Gotcha. And the way they could find this at our audience is going to be, is it the grantstream.ai? Is that the proper?
Yes. What I did with GrantStream, this is a project that started in February. And it started, I am not a computer programmer or a prompt engineer. I jumped at the opportunity when one of the first agentic sites to help you to build was a site out of France called twin.so. And what you can do is in real language, as opposed to writing prompts, you can discuss what you want to do, and then it'll help you build it. I built it through Lovable. I have a voice clone through 11 Labs, an image clone through HeyGen to do videos on there. But mainly what we're doing is I'm using AI. I have about 37 agents in the program that are highly trained to be able to do the deep research. That's something that AI excels at. And then my writing agents are trained on the 10 best grant writers in the nation, on their body of work, and on thousands of federal and foundation winning grant applications that are in the public domain. The first draft is done by AI. We do all of the documentation, all the research that's done, and then everything is handed off to a U.S. certified experienced grant writer with at least 5 years of successful grant writing experience in the particular category of grant that we're applying for.
Gotcha.
We're doing it. We provide a grant application within 5 to 7 days. We're doing something a little different from most in that we're providing 3 qualified answers for every question. And we have it broken down exactly why we answer it that way. This way, the people who are that we're serving can pick and choose exactly how they want to structure the application. But it's a completed application. And it's something that I think is really needed. It's something that is lacking in the grant industry.
Gotcha. Definitely a need. Also, I have this as well. Can they just call or text you at this number as well?
They certainly can call and text me there.
Mm-hmm.
If they're interested in grants, I'm not just pushing to grab grant business. I'm looking to change the mindset of people on this. So we do provide a free grant ready in 30 days course on the site because there's a lot of different regulatory certifications and registrations that you have to go through to even make your business eligible for grants. One of the first grants I did through one of those do-it-yourself grant writing courses was I wasn't eligible. I spent all this time to do a grant, and then I wasn't even registered with the proper government entities to be able to accept that grant money. So it takes you through that. Another thing I'm doing, I'm in the process of writing a book that is specifically to help people write their own grants. The book is Grant Funding Demystified, and that should be out in about a month or so.
Gotcha. So you pretty much help everybody that's A to Z, even if they're a novice in and not knowing the actual space. You're gonna make sure they're educated enough to take them from A to Z. Is that correct?
Yeah. In the book and through the course, where most people fail with writing grants is in matching up with the correct grants. A grant that your business actually qualifies for. A lot of people end up spending a lot of time and effort going after grants that they would have never qualified for. So that's a big thing. So that's probably that's the first chapter in this. That probably the most important part of this is actually matching up with the right grants. We teach you how to do it. If you need help with that, one thing that we provide free of charge is a full grant assessment on our website. Now, the website, grantstream.ai, is a bilingual website, so it's in English. You can click a button in the header. The whole website transforms into Spanish. And then I have a voice agent on the site that actually does voice interviews for the grant assessments. You can do it through an application instead. We get better results with the voice interviews because he's trained to be able to go into different areas to identify different categories that you may qualify for. For instance, I'm just turned 62, so I qualify for senior grants. I'm Puerto Rican, so I qualify for minority grants. I'm a veteran, so I qualify for veteran grants. So these are all different categories. My business is in a downtown hub zone. So that's another category of grants. So it'll go through step by step. It'll expand all the different grant opportunities that are possible with your business. And then what you do when you go on the site, you'll just hit the little green button, or hit the button that says free grant assessment. You have to fill out your contact form. After you fill out the contact form, you actually have to register for a Zoom meeting with me, because I give you the presentation, and then afterwards I give you the full grant assessment report. Again, a grant firm will do this for you, but it costs about $2,500. We're doing it absolutely for free.
Gotcha. Sounds like a lot of value. All right, let's hop into it. Sounds like you align right with our audience, because my audience is a lot of business owners or aspiring entrepreneurs that's trying to be the top of their field. They might be working currently at a, let's say, HVAC place, but they have aspirations on owning their own HVAC business, things like that. So, if they're getting into business, or if they're a business professional already trying to, try to maximize their potential, that's my audience. So, and we talk about ownership, and this is a good segue to the introduction of the podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, the Power of Ownership podcast, we not only talk about ownership of houses and businesses and intellectual property, we talk about the full diaspora of it, which is ownership of the mind, body, and the soul. So we incorporate ownership on every angle. So with that being said, are you ready, Richard, to hop into the first question here?
I certainly am.
Gotcha. All right, so let's start it off. So what does ownership mean to you?
To me, ownership means freedom to be able to choose my own path. For years, I worked exclusively as an employee, whether it was management on a salary. When we hit just before the pandemic, or a few years before the pandemic, I was in a situation where I have a parent who was at the age my mom couldn't live on her own anymore. I didn't want her to go through the experience of having to live in a nursing home, that sort of thing. So what I chose to do, since I was the one of the siblings that didn't have any small children anymore, and I decided to close down my apartment, and I moved in with her. Actually, we moved to another section of Texas and purchased a house, and I was there to live with her and to kind of take care of her. And we did that for a couple of years. Then she had a major health issue where she had a heart valve replacement that didn't go well. And at that point, she went into a coma. She made it out of the coma, but the doctor told me she had about 6 months to a year to live. So I was the one who gave her, probably caused her the most tears. I was a little wilder in my younger years. And I decided to go ahead and resign my position. At that time, I was managing a multi-franchise dealerships online program, internet program. So I resigned and took care of her, and I started working online. And I've never worked for anybody ever since. Once you get into the routine of being able to be your own boss, to have ownership of what you're doing, I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back and work for anybody else. I certainly work for people, but as a consultant providing them services. So I still serve clients. I'm just not serving a boss.
Gotcha. So mastering your own destiny, basically.
That's it.
Gotcha. All right. So what's the first thing you ever owned that changed your life?
Let's see. The first thing that I ever owned that changed my life is probably a computer. I went through the service. I was working military intelligence. I had to work on the computer, and this is way back when. I'm a little bit older, so this is going back into 83, 84. But It was years until I actually, and I had access to other people's computers, but it was years until I actually had my own. And that made a big difference, because it opens up your opportunities. It opens up everything that your knowledge base, and it gives you a lot of different choices.
Right. So for our younger audience, a lot of people, hey, a computer. Everybody has a computer. So back then, it was a big deal to have a computer.
Yeah.
Not everybody, it was the origins of personal computers. Most people didn't have computers in their houses at one point. So a lot of our younger kids can't fathom. Everybody has a computer. Like, nah, at one point, hardly anybody had a computer at their house. It wasn't really until the 90s that everybody was like a normal thing, right?
Yeah, and the computer back then would set you back $3,000 to $5,000.
Right.
Nobody
Really,
had. I was like,
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
use somebody else's or go to the library or whatever. But having your own really opens up things.
Right. And most people, if they had a computer, they didn't know what to do with it.
Yep. Yep.
So like, most people just had it just to have it. All right. So what are you working to own next?
On next, my current project is I happen to run across a gentleman on YouTube. I'm a big YouTube person. I like to have training playing in the background while I'm doing work.
Right.
And this gentleman was about 24, and started off. He's already made like $9 million, which like what? And his thing was how to use AI to be able to create income opportunities. And he went through the top 6 or so, and he ended up at where he decided the best business was for beginners, and that was on developing ebooks and going through KDP, I believe it is, through Amazon to sell your ebooks. And I decided that would be good for me because, first of all, I'm going to follow his course and his directions and do it the right way. And it'd be great to be in that top 80,000 where I'm getting, $500 a month. But that is not my purpose. Is I don't have a background and an authority in grants. So I'm going through, I've been studying them for the last year. And I'm going through and I'm writing a book that is how to write your own grants, broken down into simple English, as opposed to the legalese that you run into when you look at what people are putting out there for what you're required to do for a grant. And make it as simple as possible. I go through the whole thing. And so I'm about chapter 2 right now. And then there's a whole series. This one's more generalized. I'm going to have another 4 or 5. They're specific to industries. I work in medical billing. So one of the deepest pools of grants is for medical and healthcare. About $250 billion a year. So I'm going to do a book on that. I'm going to do a book specifically on small business owners, different categories of businesses that I'm going to dive down deeper and more specific on what they need to do for grants.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, the same thing I've been. My first book came out in 2019, and the second and third, the fourth one's coming out in September. So shameless plug, So the message to the businessman is out right now. So it's been selling. I have Sales the Nucleus of Any Profession, and I got Metal Drawers as well that's out. And Ownership-ism is coming out September 1st. So shameless plug. So books are always a way to build your audience as well. And then it is a stream of revenue. At one point, I was making about $1,500 a month. This was during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic. So since then, it's cooled off. But you got to keep marketing. It's an IP thing that's always gonna sell. Especially with books. All right.
And for me, an ebook on grants is great marketing for the site. I'll have links within it. I'll have certainly sell the book on the site itself, do my own funnels specifically for the site. I may do some giveaways with that, provide a lot of value, get an audience and go from there.
People don't realize that people think Google is the biggest search engine on the planet. That's incorrect. The biggest search engine on the planet is Amazon.
There you go. There you go.
What's one mistake you made in business that cost you money, and what did it teach you?
Actually, one of the most recent mistakes, I wouldn't say it's a mistake per se. Twin is a great agentic site. I don't think it works for what I'm looking to build. It keeps I keep having issues with AI agents. They're not doing what they're supposed to do and running loops and keep like eating up my credits, that sort of thing.
Right. That's the biggest problem, not knowing the prompt.
So what I have to do, I didn't do this with prompts. I did it specifically through an AI system, an agentic system that I didn't require prompts, that it would be able to do that. What I'm going to need to do at some point, and it's just a money thing, is I'm going to need to rebuild it on another platform. And I already have the plan for that. It's going to take about 90 days. During that 90 days, I'm going to have to pay for both. So I'm just holding off a little bit. It's fine what it's doing now, but I need it to be a little bit more agentic. I need it to be, my purpose with this was I'm busy enough. I want a business that's 95% run by AI agents, by freelance grant writers, and by a virtual assistant or two. I want to do 5% of it with my skills, and my skills being in sales. I do the presentation on the grant assessments. I want to do podcasts like this. I want to be able to do some stages. I want to be able to do other things to bring business in. Again, hitting what I'm strong at.
Right. And that's what people don't realize, is that this is the new arena now. It's people, if you have a product, people have to find you. Back in the day, we used to have this thing called a phone book that they used to throw out in front of each house, I guess, and that's gone. How people find you now is through their phone, because their phone is pretty much tethered to their hand, right? So, and if you don't have the actual content or the distribution, nobody will find you.
That's it. I remember years and years ago working. I sold cars for years, and when it's dead, just go to the phone book and just start going through it, or going through their old leases and that sort of thing, and just start cold calling.
Right. That's gone. People don't. There's filters. There's that. All of that's gone. The total scope of the atmosphere and arena has gone. So you have to adapt to what's going on now. People, you can be discovered, but it has to be optimized, for your, and you have to be, the social proof is things like this podcast, your content, networking, digital networking, so that is this is the new norm. And I don't think it's ever going back to analog days. Now, it will make switches within this particular arena, but I don't think it's going back to analog. I don't think we're going back to catching cabs anymore.
It's funny. I was listening to an expert in AI, and again, AI is a great tool. It has to be used as a tool. It can't do it for you, sort of thing. I mentioned them using AI to help with the writing, but that's having AI feeding it all of my information, getting it to write in my voice, and then doing one section at a time, and me going through and editing and changing, and I got that down. Now let's go on to chapter 2, section 1, and then you do it that way. Same thing with the grant writing. AI is great. It has to be overseen. AI has a tendency to want to please you. So instead of telling you what's true, it tells you what it thinks you want to hear.
Right.
So you really have to do your research. You have to double check on it. Again, I have AI doing the initial work, but I need a grant writer that has the experience to know the difference, to be able to go in and to make the edits, and they sign off on it. It's their reputation as well. So they have to go through and make sure this is a high quality professional application. And I can't do that. I've been studying grant writing for about a year, but I don't meet my own qualifications. My qualifications is you have to have at least 5 years of successful experience in the particular category that we're applying for. And I want to understand grant writing. I want to understand everything, but I am not the expert. And it's nothing. It's very valuable to be able to leverage the expertise of others.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. And this should be a pretty easy one for your industry because it's so new. What's one thing people in your industry get wrong?
Let's see. With grant writing, it's again, it's a little bit of a uphill battle because most businesses believe that grants are not for them. Grants are not for
Hmm.
small businesses. And it's funny because I'm amazed all the time. I do the deep research into a particular industry. I haven't found an industry yet that doesn't have at least $100 million in grants.
Right.
um,
Right.
and then there are some that just have, again, deep wells of grants. Medical, another one is technical. Anything in tech has a lot of money in grants. Anything in education, again, about a $200 billion in grants. So the main thing is probably 9 out of 10 small business owners that I talk to don't think that grants qualify for them. There's not anything to help their sort of business, and they're absolutely wrong.
Right. Right. Definitely. Let me ask you this: if someone had $1,000 and wanted to improve their financial future this month, what would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to get training. If you have $1,000, um, you can certainly go out there and try to flip that. But I would say the best investment you can make initially is in your education. I follow a number of professionals. I'm a student of Grant Cardone. I am a student of a number of people. Uh, and again, with the ebooks, I'm going to be a student of. You want to find people who have gotten where you want to go, and are successful at it, and can and show you the way, as opposed to you making the mistakes of learning it yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's what a lot of entrepreneurs say is you got to prepare yourself with the ammunition. The ammunition is knowledge, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
a lot of people, want to just jump in the actual um, pool, but that's fine. At least you're doing some action, but you want to learn how to swim first before you jump in the pool.
That's
You
it.
know,
That's
right?
it.
So let me ask you this: how can the community support you right now?
Community can support me. First of all, I am looking to partner with certain professionals, financial professionals,
Hmm.
accountants, um, lawyers, um, uh, insurance people, anybody who deals with small businesses.
Hmm.
Um, what happens is we're looking for people who have clients that would benefit from being given access to high quality grant professional grant writing that is a fraction of what traditional grant firms charge. And I'm very upfront about my pricing. We're doing a full grant for $750. We
Mm-hmm.
do grant management. Again, that's normally $1,500 to $5,000 a month. We're doing it for $150 a month to manage up to 3 grants. And we're doing something that's a little different, where we have a program where you can um, do an assessment, find the grants that you're interested in pursuing, and
Mm-hmm.
start making monthly payments. Once you hit that 750, we go ahead and we do the first grant that you have on your list. While you're paying on that, we're constantly updating and checking what's available, because there may be a grant that you picked, but another grant came out that's for more money, or it's a better fit for your business,
Mm-hmm.
or it has a closer deadline and we think you have a good shot at it. We're going to contact you and let you know. We may swap out grants for you, or give you that option. Uh, but nobody's doing, you can pay a little bit here, pay a little bit there, and then once you have that 750, we go ahead and move forward.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Who is the ideal client for you, and what will make the perfect referral?
The ideal client for me is a business um, that that qualifies. There is, with grants, there's a wide net.
Mm-hmm.
We're helping small businesses. We're helping independent professionals. We're helping even individuals. Some individuals, you can go through and you can find out that there are grants for your particular situation. Um, and we're helping small foundations. Or in some cases, medium-sized foundations, that instead of paying for one grant, they can take the same money and pay for 5.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Awesome. All right. So that is the end of the first round. Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Yes, we are.
All right. Let's get it. All right. So, favorite business book.
Oh, my favorite business book was probably 10X,
Okay. Yeah, I like
from
that one.
from Grant Cardone. That was
Right.
probably one of the first ones I read. Coming out of the pandemic, I was kind of locked down for a bit. We all were locked down for a bit, but I had been locked down for a bit longer than that, because I had been taking care of an elderly, my parent. So I kind of, I was a bit isolated. I'm a little bit of naturally an introvert, and my group of friends was always my the people I worked with. So when I did this, I had moved to another place, another location, and I started working from home. So I didn't have that support system. So it's something that you know, Grant, reading that kind of got me motivated, and I decided to go ahead and do a couple of live events to get out to be able to. And it's important to, it's one thing to do the training online, and that's very valuable, but nothing's better than the going to an event to do the networking. You kind of uh, breathe in the atmosphere, and it really makes a impact.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. I love 10X as well. But my favorite by far is Grant Cardone. Be obsessed or be average.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's one of that book actually really motivated me. Um, Best business purchase under $500.
Let's see. My best business purchase under $500 um, would probably be. Hmm, Probably one of the courses I went through, one of the early courses.
Mm,
Um, a lot of these people start out with a small free event, and then they introduce you to a high value that's, like a 700, excuse me, like a $300 program, and then go from there. It was one of those 297 programs that really kicked things off for me,
Right.
and kind of got me headed where I'm now going.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs say the same thing. Is I don't know why people don't invest in education, in courses and stuff like that. They kind of just want to automatically be good at something. It's crazy.
Yep.
Morning routine or night owl?
I am a morning routine person.
Mm-hmm.
I actually work out of a business office complex that I help to run. It's a good situation for me because I really only do about an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of work. I'm being paid by the hour. It prevents me from having to pay for an office, and most of the time I'm working on my own business and getting paid by the hour. So this is a 9 to 5 position. I get here at 7 o'clock, so I can put in a couple hours for myself, and frequently I stay till an hour or two afterwards so I can put in my work. And by the time I get home, I'm done, and it's just time to relax.
I got you. I got you. What time do you usually wake up in the morning? So if it's 7 o'clock, you got to be there. What are you, 4:30, 5 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm a 5 o'clock person. Yeah, and as I've gotten older, I only can sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, and
I got you.
so I'm usually up by then anyway.
I got you. I got you. All right. What's one business mistake you'll never make again?
Oh, not getting the deal on paper. I
Mhm.
remember years ago, um, I was very interested in real estate, didn't have the funds or anything. And this
Mhm.
is while I was taking care of my mom. And I decided to partner up with a real estate agent where what I was doing is I was going and running addresses and knocking on doors and, finding people who were close to a foreclosure and trying to get, and I did that for probably maybe 3 months,
Mhm.
and I never got a dime out of it. The guy just said he's always put me off, and then the next thing I know, he decided to go in another direction, and he left me hanging.
Yeah.
So what I would say is make sure uh, you know who you're working with and you have it written down in a contract. I don't do anything now. I partner with a lot of businesses. I
Mhm.
usually very good about doing my research, who I partner with. I only partner with industries or companies that are at the head of their industry, and I don't do anything unless I have it in the contract.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. What's one trend business owners should pay attention to right now?
I know there are people who don't want to do it, but I'm in my 60s. I'm
Mhm.
fascinated by AI and technology. I've never been, again, a computer guy, uh, but I feel that either you learn AI or you're going to get passed by.
Right.
AI is going to certainly eliminate certain positions, but you don't have to worry about that as long as you continue to evolve your skill set. And if you're the guy who can do work with AI, you can be 10 times more effective and productive.
Mhm.
Um, and to ignore it and to is a mistake. And
Right.
there's a lot of businesses that are ignoring things like that that are going to fail.
Right. I think so as well. I think a lot of people either ignoring it, hoping this is a fad or something to that effect. But I think it's here to stay. Yeah, once you realize how much output you could get, and how many, like you say, you only want to do 5% of the business. That's possible now. Before that wasn't possible. So now the technology is caught up. So I
And
don't
it's
think it's
going so fast.
yeah,
I mentioned
yeah, it's
earlier,
not going
but you
fast.
mentioned I was watching this podcast from this
Mhm.
high end AI expert, and she was talking about, oh, that's so early 2006. Like
Mhm.
it's changing so fast that she is saying, you know, you don't understand. You're acting like this is 5 months ago, and now it's
Right.
so much different. You know.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna this is it's gonna 10x your output. So things are gonna happen 10 times faster. So that's what I think. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Um, I would have not. I was a little bit wild and unresponsible in my younger age.
Hmm.
I came through the army. I didn't. I started college a couple times, and one time I just kind of faded away uh, just through being young and irresponsible. Another time, I faded away because I had a son, and it was time to go out there and make a full time income to support everybody. Um,
Hmm.
but go ahead, and I would say get my college degree. I never did. You know, I probably have about 3 years of formal college and
Hmm.
probably about 5 years of other business training. But I would have focused more on my education.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. All right. Biggest opportunity in the next 12 months that you see.
I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. Again, I'm focused on what I can do with AI. You know, one of the things, uh, again, I'm structuring this business so that um, 95% of it could be run by AI. I'm not there yet. I'm not anywhere near
Mhm.
there. But if I can actually fix that, actually get that worked out, I'm going to take that same structure and open three more, five more businesses.
Right.
Because if you get to the point where you have agentic agents that can actually do a lot more than the regular AI agents, and they can run stuff, and that is at the point where I can 10x my income.
Right. I got you. That's definitely. I definitely agree with that as well. What's one belief that you hold that most people disagree with?
Hmm. One belief that I hold that most people disagree with is that I'm a positive person. I believe um, that what you put out there comes back to you 10x, whether
Mhm.
it's good or bad. And not that people necessarily disagree with, but they ignore that. They
Right.
ignore that what they put out in the world. You know, if you're somebody who's constantly complaining and finding fault, guess what? Fault and complaints are going to find you.
Right.
If you're somebody that's out there putting out positivity, positivity is going to find you. I believe that.
Gotcha. Actually, that's the underlying theme of tonight's panel. I was gonna invite you to tonight's panel if you want. That's actually live, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But all right. So, what's the best investment you ever made in yourself?
The best investment I made myself, again, I went through one of these free trainings with Cardone, and then I took
Mhm.
the 297 product. Um, and then most of this was happening towards the end of the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, I had gotten to one of the reasons I wanted to touch on that I'm doing this, you know, I wasn't looking to open a business. It's the last thing I wanted to do. Um, but learning what I did about how small businesses are being pushed aside, it kind of made me touch base with that 19, 20-year old that was working. When I started out was working with environmental and social change groups, you know, going door to door and not making a ton of money, getting people to sign petitions, getting people to join the organization, that sort of thing. Um, but it was the passion of trying to right a wrong. what we thought something that needed to be changed, and it tapped into that. Um, but at the end of the pandemic, right after the pandemic, I was in a deep depression. My mom had died in the middle of the early in the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and I was locked in a home by myself. Um, and sales is 90% attitude. Um, so if you're really down in the dumps like that, it's hard to close. It's hard to sell. It's hard to, for me, I can't sell anything I don't believe in,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to believe in it. And again, your mindset is very important. So I was at the time working on selling the ERC, the Employment Retention Tax Credit, Employee Retention Tax Credit Program, and I was doing miserably at it. And really, I was in a really bad, dark space in my life. And I was just about to give up. And I had somebody reach out to me that had seen one of my posts or one of my ads. And it was a woman from Africa who was running a healthcare business, had a number of homes in the Austin area. And she has about 100 employees, and the majority of her employees were from Africa as well. So she
Mm-hmm.
was treating them all as family. And for a lot of the time that it was shut down, she was just paying everybody. She wanted to make sure they were like her family to her. So she made sure everybody was taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
to the extent that her business was just about bankrupt. She had like 5 mortgages that were just about to go, and she was really at her edge of losing her business.
Right.
And I was able to help her. I was partnered with a CPA firm at the time that was doing that work, and help her to get like just over $400,000,
Mm-hmm.
which made a huge difference for her. I remember her crying and thanking me on the phone, and she called me a rainmaker. And really, it made a big difference to me. It kind of boosted me because I was really in a funk, and got me out of it, and kind of got me going again. And I had somebody else who I was able to help out that I got $4.2 million, and that was like a six-figure commission. So with some of that money, I went and I bought a $10,000 grant Cardone program that had like 6 different events in different places. Some in Florida, some in Scottsdale, some in um, in Phoenix, and that was something. It was I needed to get out. It got me out there and meeting people and networking and learning, and that was a big thing for me. That was probably one of the best things I ever did for myself.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. And that was PPP loan, or was it a grant?
No, these were not PPP loans. These were there was a program. It was a tax rebate program
Mm-hmm.
that people were getting employed. It was for employers that kept their employees employed during the pandemic. It was a
Okay.
lot of companies that shut down or fired their employees. Well, they would get about $26,000 per employee that they kept. So it ended up being a big savings for a lot of people.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. All right. What's one thing you're saying no to this year?
Um, One thing I'm saying no to over and over again is people reaching out for different opportunities. My plate is full.
Mm-hmm.
I provide a variety of other services, mainly through as a contracted partner at richardgiraldas.com, my personal brand website. And then I'm doing this grant stream .ai program. So, and I work in this, help to run this business. So I'm very busy, and I am just my plate is full. I'm not looking for anything else.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. What's one habit that's made you the most money?
Um, The habit that's made me the most money is not giving up, being tenacious. I've run a couple of phone rooms and been, a person in phone rooms before. And I've gotten away from that, but it's just following up and following up and not giving up on on opportunities, on people, on making sure that uh, a lot of times people will touch base, get that no, and never follow up. I'm the guy that's always following up. I'm not the most talented, but I'm probably the hardest worker. So in most of those cases, I was in the top of the leaderboard.
Gotcha. All right. Who has influenced your business journey the most?
Hmm. Who has influence? Again, I hate to sound like a fanboy, but it would probably be um, my mentors. And the one who's probably had the most impact is Grant Cardone.
Mm-hmm.
I've followed a number of them, Tony Robbins and that sort of thing. I watch a lot of free trainings anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but the person who I've followed enough to pay them and to follow is because you have to look at the results.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that teach, but if you look into their own business, their accrements, they're pushing more. They're teaching. There's a lot of people that said if you couldn't do something, you might as well teach it. There was a lot of that in the professional professor world. But you want to follow the people who've gotten to where you need to go, have paved that path, and can show you the way.
Gotcha. All right, we're down to the last rapid fire question. One word that describes your success.
One word that describes my success. I would say I'm still looking for that ultimate success. My plan with this business is um, to run it. I expand into Canada in 6 months. The site is already bilingual, so in 1 year into Central America, and in 18 months into Europe. Um, my success will be in 3 to 5 years to have a 10 to 15x evaluation on my annual income from the business. And at that point, I'll have the opportunity or the option of moving on and cashing out.
Gotcha. So selling at a multiplier, so you already got your exit strategy laced up.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. So I definitely appreciate it. That is the end of the questions. So Richard, tell them one more time where they can find you at. Tell them what you do in case they tune in later on to the
Yes, if you are interested in
Mhm.
finding out if your business qualifies, if you qualify for grants, the simplest way to do it is to go to grantstream.ai and get a
Mhm.
free grant assessment. Again, this is a service that traditional grant firms charge $2,500 or more to do, and you can have it done absolutely free. We also have a free grant ready in 30 days to make sure your business is qualified to receive grants. And then I am in the process and will be launching my first book, Grant Funding Demystified, in about a month.
Mhm. Gotcha. And then also they could call or text you at this number as well, 833.
Yes,
Right.
that's my direct line. I use Grasshopper, so it goes directly to my cell,
Mhm.
and talk to me. I personally I do phone calls, but I prefer to do a face-to-face online
Yeah.
meeting. It
Right.
gives me a little bit more feedback on who I'm meeting. I can read the person a little bit better and
Right.
be able to serve them a bit better.
Right. And you see the point of my podcast. I turned a coffee meeting into some content. So
There you go. There
kind
you
of
go.
you
There
know,
you go.
I'm being future forward.
I look to do a podcast at some point.
Right.
I don't know when. At this point, just want to be a guest on other people's podcasts
Right.
and brush up my 10x stages training to be able to do some live events.
Well, I will formally invite you to the podcast later tonight if you want. At 8:00 tonight, we have the panel where you're going to be on with other. It's a little bit different format. It's not highlighting you. It's going to be around the clips. We review the latest clips that's viral this week.
I would be honored to do that.
Right. So I'll go ahead and formally invite you. I'll go ahead and send you the link to the WhatsApp group, and the clips are already in there. You can preview them, and that's the ones that we're going to be talking about. We have some questions related, and then we're going to go back and forth and have a discussion about it.
Sounds good. It sounds good. I've been looking at some of your videos on YouTube to
Right.
kind of catch up and see who you are. So yeah, I'd be definitely willing to do that.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you in the WhatsApp group after this. So Richard, I definitely appreciate your time today. Also, I need to get with you because we just launched Cross Gauge Media. So it's a tech company. So I might need to see if I qualify. I know you put something, you enlightened me, so I never looked at grants as something that could help just businesses.
Yeah, one of the other services I probably should have mentioned is we do have grant ready services that we will make sure that your business is qualified. You can do that work yourself, or we can do it for you. And then one of the other things, we are partnered with a foundation formation company. So we're helping businesses to set up their own 501c3. And in combination with that, we apply for the Google Foundation's ad grant, which provides businesses, actually 501c3 nonprofits with $120,000 a year in free Google ads, or $10,000 a month. So that's something that a lot of businesses should take a look at.
Well, I do have P1322 coming out later on this year. That is my nonprofit. I'm getting it formed right now to my 501c3. So that's coming out later on this year. So yeah, I might have to call you later on this week or later on the day and see what I need to do as far as getting that in line. So
sure.
Yeah. So we formed Cross Gauge in April this year. I partnered with a developer, and the tech is ready to demo. So we're going to start demoing it, and then we got to do an audit, and then we're going to be ready to launch here shortly. So,
Okay.
So with that being said, Richard, I definitely appreciate your time coming in, and we're going to see you next week.
Thank you. This was my first podcast ever, and I feel good, and I'm ready to do my next.
Hopefully by next year, like that, Richard had his his debut on a Power of Ownership podcast. So hopefully you'll be a viral star by then. So with that being said, we'll see you next week.
Okay, you have a good one now.
Take ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes. Take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. And when a team takes ownership of its problems, the problems get solved. And that is true on the battlefield, it is true in business, and it is true in life.